Lotus Emira POV. So we already did a Lotus Emira POV, but it was a little bit overexposed, and the other key thing is the fact that it wasn't my Lotus Emira, and I thought, you know, we really ought to do this again. However, we're going to do this, we should do it right. Get out here in front of the truck and find sport mode. He's caught me because I was going slow, and now I'm not. So one of the other things about doing the POV is it shows you how the red interior actually looks with this car. You're sitting on the reddest part of the interior, and that is the seats. Someone asked me on our podcast about the gear ratios in the Emira because the Cayman has gotten a lot of discussion about the gears being super long, and so you don't get to shift very often. So this actually has a fairly low red line. It's been discussed by a lot of people. Only revs to 6,800, but because it's supercharged, I don't know that that's a problem. You have power all the time. It's not like you have to wind it out like crazy to find the power, but I wanted you to see that the gears are pretty well spaced first through third. Second tops out in the 70s. Third actually tops out high 90s, almost 100. So the reality is you're rarely ever going to need anything above third, but because of that spacing, I think it's better than a lot of other transmissions as far as actually giving you gear ratios you're going to actually want to use. You've probably heard all the stats by now. 400 horsepower, a 310 pound-feet of torque, 3.5 liter V6 with an Edelbrock supercharger on the top. Same 6-speed V6 combo that was in the Evora before. Worked well there and is used here as well. Shooting this on a Friday afternoon. I bring that up because weekend traffic is starting to happen to all these locations, campsites, etc. So I got to be extra careful of people and RVs and that kind of thing. Also means things get busier. So I'm going to do this. All the fun supercharger noises. Like all Lotus shifters, certainly the one on my Elise as well, this one will not be rushed. You have to just enjoy working with it. Of course, you've all seen it has a mesh panel down here that lets you see the linkage moving. On this shoot, I actually passed 1,000 miles. Break-in on this car is, depending upon who you read, either 1,500 kilometers or 1,000 miles. Either way, I'm through the break-in period. I didn't completely stay below 4,000 RPM during the break-in, but I didn't really load the engine too much. Now I'm enjoying using the upper end a lot. You know, doing things like wide open throttle now and then. This is the touring suspension, and it's doing an amazing job with this road. I know where most of the bumps and hits are, but this just absorbs them. It's only slightly softer than the sport suspension. We're hearing about 5% difference in the spring rates, but there is a noticeable difference. The sport version does feel more aggressive, closer to what an Evora feels like. But as a car that I plan to drive all the time in all conditions, very happy with the touring suspension. Paul was a little questioning about if I should have gotten the sport suspension, because the press car that we had, we both thoroughly enjoyed, and it was the sport suspension. But once he drove it with the touring, he thought, you know, this is going to be by far better for the way we're going to use the car. This person is officially not ready for me. Exciting. Notice that sometimes going for third in this car, I release the clutch faster than the gear takes. So I have to get better about that. It's just learning the car. Again, can't rush it. Gearbox doesn't like it. I know it's early. I know I have barely 1,000 miles on this car, but I still spend time just marveling that it's mine. So far, I've been able to update many of the things I wanted to update. I did originally want a tan interior. I've really grown to like this red interior. It still wouldn't have been my first choice, but seeing it and living with it, I like it more than I thought I would. I definitely wanted the Magma Red. I wanted silver wheels, not black. I was able to actually trade with another Emira owner. He wanted black wheels, so we just swapped across, which was incredible. And then this wheel is the last one. I really don't like an Alcantara wheel. I know some people love it. I don't mind it here on the pillars and that kind of stuff, but I just don't like the feel of it on my hands. So since I'm not wearing racing gloves all the time, I wanted a leather wheel. So I'm having one made by some friends at Greg's Race Parts. They can do a Lotus Emira wheel swap. So I'm actually very excited about that. That will take this wheel to be a combination of perforated leather and smooth leather, which is very similar to the Elise wheel that I love very much. So once I get that wheel changed, I don't know that there's anything else that I feel the need to do to make this mine. I can't believe it is mine. I can't believe those changes have even been possible. And they've been fairly straightforward. I am curious for how this ages. Its reliability has actually been great so far. I've had a couple little, first few hundred miles of the car, a couple little action items popped up on the dash, and then they promptly reset themselves. So at this point, I'm just excited to drive it all over the place, keep you guys informed, and continue to be astounded that it's mine at all. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you soon.